Welcome back to a blunt discussion. I'm your host Lici, and today we're going to be talking about periods. Yeah. So I was going to open this up by kind of apologizing to the people in the audience who don't have periods or want to think about periods ever. And then I realized that was kind of part of the reason why I wanted to discuss this particular topic. Like, it's such a weird topic because growing up, I'm 33 years old, so I probably have a very different upbringing as far as periods go than kids nowadays. My first introduction to what periods were was a conversation that I had with my great grandmother. I had to have been under the age of 8. I'm pretty sure I was maybe 5 or 6. And I asked her what a period was, because someone had mentioned it. Now, my great-grandmother, she was of German descent. And so, that'll explain the next sentence. She was like, well, your period is when one day, about the time that you're 12 or 13, you just start bleeding out of your foos. And I was like, no, that sounds horrible. Foos was the term that my great-grandmother and my grandmother used to refer to your vagina. To my vagina. Or to their, I guess they just used that as the word for vagina. So that was my first introduction. So when I found out what a period actually was, that it was something that happens once a month and it was due to your body and what was going on, I was like, that's it? Fuck yeah, because I thought I was going to be bleeding every day for the rest of my life till I died. Like, she made it seem like as if it was never going to stop and that's just your life now. And I was like, how do people do anything if it's just every day? So yeah, that didn't get corrected for a very long time. So by the time I had actual sex ed, it was a big relief as far as periods go. But that was the kind of introduction I had, and it was kind of like no one really talked about it except for in your sex ed class, and maybe now it's a little different, but I've noticed that as an adult, most of the women I know who have periods, because I do know others who do not have them, they're very secretive about it. The other day I had a friend who we were a couple of us hanging out, and 2 of us happened to be girls who have periods, and one of them was a guy. And she did this really weird roundabout way of trying to get me and her alone, and it was weirding me out because I'm not very close to her, and she was kind of more the other person's friend, so I was like, what the hell's going on? But then finally when we were alone, she was like, can I borrow a tampon? And I was like, oh yeah, they're right here. And then I was like, oh right. Why? Oh, because you think he's going to mind? And then I was like, wait, you know what? Now that I think about it, everyone I know who asks for a tampon or a pad does so very secretively and is kind of like quiet about it and very hush hush. And I was just kind of like, why? Like, if you were to go to the bathroom, that's the exact same thing, but if you were to go to the bathroom and there was no toilet paper, you'd be like, hey, I need some toilet paper, and nobody would be like, oh, you're gross, you're disgusting. It's like, it's just something that happens. And I think that kind of comes along with like the whole, like, because we don't talk about our bodies, we don't make it just a normal thing, it becomes this whole freaking process, and it's like this secret. Before I decided to have this particular discussion, I was like, let's see what's out there. Because I do know a couple people who are like, no, periods should be talked about and celebrated. And I'm not saying we need to celebrate them either. I just don't think we need to be ashamed of them. I don't, like, it's like, it's just something our body does. Do we need to have a parade for everything our body does? I mean, maybe if it doesn't normally do it and then it finally starts doing it, then sure, have a parade for that. But it's just weird to me that it's like this secret thing that, we can't talk about. And then there's this mentality of like, oh yeah, it's Shark Week. It's like, fuck yeah, I'm on my period. Like, I'm a fucking raging bitch when I'm on my period. Fuck yeah. And it's like, what? No, why is there these extreme kind of views of what's like, it's just a thing your body does? I don't understand. Like, I don't think it needs to be something that people like whisper about, but I also don't think it needs to be something where it's like, yeah, let's talk about fucking periods and vaginas. I don't know. I mean, I guess talking about vaginas can be fun, but again, I just don't understand the weird mentality around periods. That's why I wanted to discuss this. Like, do you find yourself falling on more of the like, I want to keep it a secret? Like, however, then there's on the other side. Like at the Denver Comic Con, there was a an underwear company that gears completely towards that kind of stuff. Like it was like, oh god, I can't even think of some of the titles of the underwear, but it was like Return of the Bloody Beast or something. It was like that was kind of like what it said on the underwear, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. Like, what? I don't know if I'm cool with that, but I guess if that's your thing. So, is that, like, where do you fall on the line? Are you kind of more, let's talk about it and treat it like this amazing celebration? Is it more like, keep it secret and hidden? Or are you kind of more in the, like, it's just a body thing? I don't know. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Anyway, thanks for joining me in a blunt discussion, and I'll see you next time.